Today we are going to discuss one very important issue of relationship between religion and nationalism, and in India's case about Islam. These are the things that Indian historians neglected, so we are focusing on that. And this is an aspect which is covered in detail by Ambedkar in his book Pakistan or Partition of India. He gave a very, very insightful account. It's really a tragedy that that book is not widely read and discussed by the mainstream. Okay, now let us come to the topic of Islam and nationalism. We discussed that nationalism is a loyalty to land. A landed identity is glorified. Indian first, Hindu next, Telugu next, okay, Reddy next. That is nationalism. Will such a nationalism be equally practiced by all religions is an issue. Let us take Islam now. Islam gives a lot of importance to sense of community, ummah, sense of community. Muslims constitute a community, and loyalty to community is more important than anything else. So, loyalty to Islam is more important than loyalty to a land. So, the way a Hindu can say, I am an Indian first and a Hindu next, it is difficult for a Muslim to say, I am an Indian first and Muslim next. It may look to some that Muslims are bad, but that is how the religion is structured. Muslim community is important and not any other identity. That's number one. Next thing is Muslims are so clearly distinguished from people of other religions. Islam doesn't treat both Muslims and non-Muslims equally. That's a very important point. Islam favors Muslims. And outside Islam, some are given some respect. Jews are given some respect. Christians are given some respect. They are called people of the book, people of the scriptures. Because Prophet Muhammad said that Jews and Christians have been given sacred books before, and they had prophets, and except that, Prophet Muhammad was a lost prophet. So, Jews and Christians are theoretically given respect. They are people of the book. They are not what are called kafirs, infidels. Infidels is a different category. Kafirs, infidels, or disbelievers. Okay. So, Muslims first, next people of the book, and then you have others, worshippers of various gods, polytheists, idolaters, paganism, and unfortunately, Hinduism comes under that. So Hindus are people who worship idols. Hindus are the people who don't believe in one God. Of course, one can interpret they believe in one God also. All kinds of interpretations are possible about Hinduism. But usually they are considered polytheists and idolaters, pagan worshippers. So, Muslims theoretically need not give due respect to Hindus, theoretically. And many religious Muslims are more conservative, may think Hindus come under probably infidels. So, Islam, in terms of its belief structure, is not inclusive. It is egalitarian, partly or mostly, to the members of Islam or to the Muslims. But it is not egalitarian vis-a-vis other faiths. So, Ummah, rigid identity, others excluded, and some are called infidels. And Quran says so many bad things about kafirs, how they should be killed and burnt, all kinds of things. And then one more thing is that Islam is not just confinement to spirituality or the so-called God-related activities. Islam is also political. That's how Islam spread. Politics and religion are not distinguished in Islam. Politics is an expression of Islam. In fact, Prophet Muhammad claim to prophethood was that, one of the claims was that he was successful in wars. With fewer people, he could win a war, though the enemy had many more number of soldiers. So, war, conquest, politics, violence are all part of religion in Islam. So, one of the beliefs of Muslims is that they divide a country in two ways. Abode of Islam versus abode of war. Dar al-Islam is abode of Islam. Dar al-Harb, abode of war. So, if a person is free to practice Islam and the rulers are Muslims, then it is Darul Islam. If the rulers are non-Muslim, rulers are infidels, then it is said it is mandatory on a Muslim, if he can, to try to change Darul Harb to Darul Islam. One should try to change the political complexion. And one can't. One should migrate. If you can't wage war, jihad, migration, these are all the ways by which Darul Harb be changed to Darul Islam. So, religion and politics are so closely interlinked in Islam. So that is about the theory. So let us look at Indian context now. You have here, before 1947, huge chunk of Muslims, very conservative, who doubt whether India is Darul Islam or Darul Harb. And definitely who are more likely to think Hindu rule will lead to Darul Harb. So what kind of loyalty to India one can expect from the Muslims? Very serious issue. And not a hypothetical one. Look at Khilafat agitation. That is not about the issue of Muslims in India. That is about Muslims somewhere else. Muslims are mobilized for the first time, not on the issues confronting them in India, but from outside, but about the issues confronting outside. That is what is meant by Ummah, which gives rise to pan-Islamic movement. Khilafat was an instance at that time, and that continues even now. Take for example, Muslims, many Muslims all over the world went to USSR, went to Afghanistan to check infidels out of USSR. It's a recent struggle. Or currently, Islamic State. Muslims from many countries have gone there. These things show that Muslims consider Islam more important than a nation, than a land. And especially land is being ruled by infidels. They will have a problem of loyalty. Is the problem of loyalty a hypothetical issue? It doesn't seem so. During freedom struggle, during your 20s, some Muslim leaders asked King of Afghanistan to invade India, and they said they would fight on behalf of the King of Afghanistan. Why King of Afghanistan? Because he's a Muslim. And Muslim League said to the effect that Muslim soldiers should not be involved in fighting against Muslim power outside India. What does all this mean? So, very serious issues. So, what does Ambedkar say on these issues? First, unlike the modern day historian, Ambedkar recognizes the problem. That's his greatness. And he says this attitude is very dangerous. And a safe army cannot be created out of people who are more loyal to Islam or who think Hindus are kafirs and who think that a huge Islamic state need to be created and who long for glorious days of Islamic empire before the British rule. So Ambedkar gives variety of reasons why India should be partitioned. It's like Ambedkar begging Hindus through variety of arguments, please let Muslims leave them. And in this argument, Ambedkar is saying, please leave them because they are dangerous. Army will be unsafe with such disloyal Muslims. And he said, an unsafe army is more dangerous than unsafe borders. So that's what Ambedkar thought. And Ambedkar was not the only one who had these beliefs. He quotes Annie Besant. He quotes Annie Besant's fears. Why this is going to be a problem and how loyalty of Muslims to India after independence is going to be a serious issue. Of course, he quotes C.R. Das. And more surprisingly, he quotes Rabindranath Tagore. Tagore said in an interview that I talk to many Muslims and they have a problem of being loyal to India. That's a very serious thing. If definitely Tagore must have met many liberal Muslims. And Tagore is definitely not narrow-minded. And that is the view he had of loyalty of Muslims. So what do you do? So, of course, Ambedkar's solution is partition. But probably partition, Ambedkar knows, doesn't solve the communal problem, but it only reduces it. Okay, now what about history? Historians should ask and face these uncomfortable questions. What is the nature of the religion? What kind of mindset that it produces? What kind of citizens it makes? Okay. Saying that religion is a personal issue and whoever brings religion into politics is communal. That is very shallow. I think Indian historians in particular didn't pay sufficient attention to the nature of Islam. I would say they're scared of Prophet Muhammad. Too scared to talk about him. But then they shouldn't. If something is scary, it is all the more reason to confront it head on and see how we should respond. Thank you.